I used to get pretty frustrated that I would provide a suggestion to a student and they just seemed to ignore it. They wanted to do it their way, and their way wasn't going to necessarily get them the right answer. Instead, I tried to convince them that the approach I'm suggesting would be more effective. After all, getting information from me was why they were in class, right? I wasn't giving them any choice, and that's a really good way to demotivate people. Imagine if the rest of the world was like that.
I'm after a new pair of shoes.
Great, you look like a size 13, is that right? This is the shoe you need.
But I'm after some runners.
Yep, that shoe's good for everyone.
Maybe I'll get something to eat. What can I get you? Well, I guess I'll have soup.
Here's some feedback on your last submission. Do this, this, and this if you want to pass. It would be terrible if we didn't have choice in the rest of our lives, because having a sense of control is a fundamental human need. But then when I think about it, how much choice was I providing my students when I was teaching? Students want to do it their way because they want this sense of self-direction. They want to be able to feel like they have some control over the way that they do things. We all feel like that, and it's possible to give them that choice while also developing their skills. We're trying to move from just providing the right answer to instead giving them a few choices about how to learn. This makes sense from a learning perspective too. We know that students aren't blank slates, but instead bring pre-existing knowledge into the classroom. Telling students what to do and how to do it might not complement the ways in which they understand the world, so it could be difficult for them to process. If we give them choice, this allows them to select the option that's most closely aligned to the way they see the world. If we let them choose from a set of tasks, they can choose the one that best suits their skills and the things that they want to learn. Options also help students solve problems. There's usually a few ways of solving a problem or making an argument, and by giving students more than one option, they can have some say over how they do it. If you provide a few equally attractive options, students will feel more motivated because they have a genuine sense of choice. We should add that there's a Goldilocks zone when it comes to offering alternatives. You want to offer some choice, but not too much, because there's such a thing as too many alternatives. We don't want to overwhelm students with options or give them complete free rein all the time. Research shows that providing between 2 and 4 equally good options gives people choice without being overwhelming. We can add choices to instruction, to assessment, or to feedback. In instruction, we can offer students a few ways of solving a problem or a few resources that might teach them the same content. So for you to learn the basics of this programming language, there's a few options for you. You can follow along with the textbooks, got some good examples and some code. We've got some online lectures that walk through everything. Or inside the software, there's an interactive learning package called Swirl that you can try. For assessment, some academics go as far as letting students choose between types of assessment, like a presentation or an essay on the same topic. In many contexts, we can't do this, but we can provide choices as to how they approach an assessment, the topic they choose, or how they get the information they need. So there are 2 options I think about when I'm starting to write a research paper: an annotated bibliography or an outline. So for those of you who don't know, an annotated bibliography is in feedback. It can involve giving students a few solutions to the problem, or it can involve giving a few tips to look into. If a student's struggling to make an argument, you might provide a few angles that they can take.
So if you put this argument down here, up here, you might find it easier to link it to the following paragraph.
Sometimes the problem is bigger than you can solve in a short comment. In this case, we can provide a few tips to help them find the answer on their own quickly.
When students are trying to learn formulas, there's a few strategies that they sometimes find helpful just for that rote learning. So you can either use like flashcards, practice problems, or have like a formula sheet that you're quite familiar with. Which one of those do you think might work for you?
Giving students a few equally attractive options can be really motivating. And it can also help them develop better problem-solving skills because they learn to generate a few ideas before making a decision. This way, my students could do it their own way while also getting to the right answer.